It is about you. You are the selling point, and the landscape is changing. So be your authentic self, because no one wants to go to work being miserable all day. Look at your own resume, look at your own LinkedIn, and look at your impact and what you have provided for that other company. And if you write things in that context, you're going to talk to the next employer.
In my opinion, it's about giving the customer what they really want and just blowing their mind once they get it. And that's what I really love to see, honestly.
Get people to do more of home cooking, home cooked meals, healthy meals, so we can all live long and happy.
I'm very proud to be a mom, because not for nothing, women are amazing.
Oh my God, the sacrifice, and how we make it look so easy.
I was just telling Joanne before we got on the call, I said, I had to run from my daughter's school. They had an Easter egg hunt. I said, all right, Mom, I gotta go to work. But, you know, just as moms, we make it happen, you know, supernatural abilities. We are the example for them, you know, and I know that with them being a better version of us.
You have to try. You never know how creative you are until you try. Because I didn't think I was creative. I found my creative side during a horrible time in my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? How you doing? I am the business DJ Basic. I am so happy to be here today. It is amazing. Is it amazing? Is it amazing holiday season? And listen, we have a great show for you today. Okay, so I'm going to introduce one of our speakers for today. Well, our only speaker for today. I had a chance to speak to her backstage. It was an amazing conversation, and I can tell you right now that you guys are in for a treat. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today. As we go through what we are about to speak on, we are excited to introduce Antoy Grant. Okay, she's a dynamic coach, motivational speaker, and author of Best Year Ever Planner and Journal and Best Year Ever Goal Workbook. With her extensive experience in coaching, leadership, and personal development, Antoy is dedicated to helping individuals set clear goals, plan effectively, and create lasting transformation in their personal and professional lives. In today's session, Create Your Best Year Ever, Goal Setting and Planning Like a Pro, Antoy will guide participants through her proven framework for setting and achieving meaningful goals, developing productive habits, and overcoming challenges to stay motivated and on track. Antoy will cover key topics including setting meaningful and achievable goals, mastering planning techniques to align with your vision, building habits for resilience and productivity, overcoming challenges to stay motivated, and creating a roadmap to achieve your best year ever. As the president of the International Coaching Federation, New York City chapter, and the founder of Mango Seed Entertainment, Antoy's expertise in coaching, creative consulting, and personal empowerment has inspired countless individuals to unlock their potential and reach their goals. This session will provide you with the tools and mindset needed to take charge of your future and live your best life. So, ladies and gentlemen, oh man, that was a lot, right? This woman is amazing. Please help me welcome Antoy Grant. Everybody, Antoy Grant. All right. Listen, I was like, man, hold on. Wait. Okay. All right. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I am so glad to be here. Welcome everyone that's joining us on the live, and everyone that will watch this after. Welcome. I'm so excited to be here and share with you guys, and hopefully have you leave with, while we're doing the interview, you can leave with at least one or two of your goals planned out.
All right. And listen, I plan on taking a lot from this interview myself. All right. I feel like this is kind of like a freebie. I'm going to be on the side like, okay, let me check that. But I'm ready for all the information that you have to give everybody and all of our viewers. Okay. So first, just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Antoy Grant. I'm originally from Jamaica, the island, not Queens. I always have to say that when I'm in New York, you know.
You always have to say
You know, I've kind of led a life where even when I was a kid, people would come to me and say, you know, start telling me their problems or, you know, whatever was going on with them. At the time, I didn't really realize it, but I would listen and, you know, maybe give advice if they needed it. So that's kind of how I guess my organic coaching started. But I have a super passion for entertainment. I'm a performer, I'm a writer, director, producer. I've worked in Hollywood for many years. And even when I started my company, Mango Seed, I ended up, you know, I would become friends with my clients and they would start telling me their problems and what they were trying to accomplish and their goals and kind of asking me how I did, you know, what I do. And so I kind of realized, hey, like, you're kind of like coaching people and consulting people. And it was kind of weird that I didn't know that. But at one point I was just kind of like, oh, I can actually get paid for that. And actually, I was giving it all away for free all these years, you know? So that's kind of how the, you know, adding coaching and consulting and mentoring kind of came about. Even though I was doing it organically for many, many years without even knowing that that's what I was doing.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing that you said you were doing it and not getting paid for it. I think you were being paid by the blessings that you received. Trust me, because the work that you've done
I
for people,
agree.
I definitely feel that. So can you share with us what inspired you to create the best year ever framework? How has this like impacted your own life?
It's funny when you say framework because, you know, when you're doing what you're doing, you don't think it's like a thing. You know, you're just doing it. But over time, you know, people have kind of, I've always been the go-to person. Like my friends, all my friends, family, whoever would kind of come to me and say, you know, I want to do this. How do I do that? Or I want to do this. How would I go about doing that? And so I felt myself telling people constantly, like, okay, and I would even have like, call me, let me walk you through how to do it. And so finally, after many years, I decided like I had done a lot of research and I used a lot of different tools, a lot of different frameworks, because I believe in using everything you possibly can if you want to be successful. And I've done a lot of research on a lot of it. So I was using all of those things, but I didn't realize like, hey, you have a framework. You know, it was just stuff I did to do what I do. And so I finally decided to create a book because that way people could go and get the information there and I wouldn't have to, you know, I could reach more people that way instead of like one-on-one, people could go to, you know, and get the book and everything that I know to this point that I published that book is in there. So all the tools that I use, whether it's visualization, journaling, planning, you know, everything, like even picking one word that's like your intention word for the year, whatever that may be, all the things that I know, I'm like, let me just put it in this book and then people can go and get it. But it's kind of I would call it a collaboration of all the tools that I use to accomplish what I set out to do whenever I set out to do it.
Okay. And what part of this book would you think is the most impactful from your perspective to somebody who's actually reading it?
I think it's depends on the person. Mm-hmm. Because my brain works on a multi-dimensional level. So okay. I have the ability to kind of work on all of those layers. So someone might go in and maybe a vision board is something that works for them. So they'll pick that tool and that's what they'll use. Or maybe some people do like the wheel of life or the wheel of their goals. They'll go there and be able to break down their life, you know, their relationships, you know, what they want to accomplish. Or someone else might be journaling works for them, you know. So the great thing about it is I don't have to pick, what works for them. I've given them all the tools. And if they want to use them all, they can use them, or they can pick one thing that, that's my thing right there. Like this one, I'll try this and this works for you. But the way the book is kind of written, they're so intertwined. Like you can start at the beginning. It's not like you start in January and go through December. It's a 12-month book, but it's undated. So you could literally start in January, February, whenever throughout the year, and start doing your goals. And it literally walks you through step by step by step on how to do it. So it's pretty cool, but I don't like to pick. I literally just say, here's the gumbo. If you like the corn, you like the shrimp, whatever your thing is, take everything else out and just eat the parts that you want. So that's kind of like what the book is for them.
Okay. So, I mean, when you say that, it makes me think like, okay, well, what do you think are like the key elements that people seem to like overlook? And like, how can they get that kind of pitfall,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, because I think most people, as a coach, I go into every arrangement thinking that the person's the expert on them. Because even if we just don't have enough time in one session for everyone to give me their whole backstory. So as a coach, when I go into it, they're the expert on them. I'm just kind of their guide. But I feel like them realizing that they are in charge and they are managing every aspect of their life is empowering for them, to figure that out and say, hey, so if something's not going well, I do have the ability to adjust that and make adjustments that will make it go in a different direction. So just being empowered and saying, instead of just gliding through life, without an intention or putting, it on someone else, like it's someone else's responsibility for what's going on, but putting it back on you and saying, hey, I'm responsible for every single thing that's vibrating in my world right now. And if I don't like something, I can change things to make it positive.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it takes a long look in the mirror sometimes.
Yeah.
Is really you. And then, you can actually speak on everything else that's existing.
And that's powerful. Some people look at it as a negative. Like if you actually say like everything, majority of what's going on, probably everything is because of me. Mm-hmm. But then you say like everything that's going on is because of me. So that's empowering too, because you can make those adjustments from a place of power and say, hey, if I don't like this part of my life, what it's looking like right now, I can make changes to adjust that, so you can look at it like from a negative or a positive. And that's what I think one of the things that people do the most is when they go into things or they look at things, even when it's something really terrible, and sometimes it could be hard to do, is to say, okay, so what is the silver lining in this situation? I always try to do that no matter what, or, how horrible it might be. I try to look and see, okay, so what did I learn? What can I gain from this? How will this help me to move forward as a person? That type of stuff. Yeah.
All right. So I guess, how do you recommend someone to begin the process of setting meaningful goals? Like,
now you're talking my language.
I hear you. I know we have to build up to getting past our own, self by looking in the mirror. But
exactly. So, the things that I'm sharing today, some people probably know if they're good at goal setting and planning. But for those who don't, I hope there'll be some insights in there for you. So I'm just going to share what I do because it works for me. Okay. And there's a lot in there that people can pick. And ideally, I think there's some comments happening. But if you want to put in the comment, like what your goals are, if you want to put it in, or you can think of a goal in mind that you want to accomplish for the next year coming up. And just keep that in mind. And as I'm talking and going through this process, you can actually do the steps because, you're not on camera, so you can multitask, right? So what I like to do is before I begin to move forward, I look back. And a lot of people don't do that, but I always look backwards. So like it's, the end of the year that we're recording this at the end of the year, the new year's coming. And so I reflect back on, okay, what did my last year look like? What did I do well? What would I like to improve upon? Is there stuff that I just don't even want to think about? Let's just walk away and not even think about it. There's some of those.
Absolutely.
There's some of
A
those.
lot of those. We got a lot of those.
So, you really reflect, and you really have to take this seriously. It's not just like, oh, I'm driving in the car. Maybe you could drive and think about it, but you really want to set aside some time to really do it and just reflect on everything you've accomplished. And it could be positive, it could be negative, but what you want to take from it is, how can you make the next year better? So that reflection will give you insights as to what worked, what didn't. Maybe where you want to go moving forward, maybe, like I said, where you don't want to go, and stuff you just want to leave behind and never think about again moving forward. So, and then after that, you get into the present and start projecting into the future. So, okay, so what do you want? And at this point, you don't want to edit yourself. You just want to imagine the most amazing big goals that you can. As big as you can. Don't start editing them. Just say, by the end of this coming year, what would I like to see? What would I like to accomplish? Like, wouldn't it be nice if I could do this? Or wouldn't it be nice if I could accomplish that or gain this, or, whatever that goal is? A lot of people have like new cars, new houses, new job, new husband, new wife. I don't know. It depends on you where you're at, But whatever that is, and you just write them all down, or use your apps. There's a lot of apps now that help you with goal planning and goal setting. Put it in your apps. There's mirror boards. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can use with your goal planning. So once you put everything down unfiltered and unedited, you then take it and you're going to number them. So this is what I do. After I look at everything, I like to write things down. I'm a writer. So on a piece of paper, I'll just have everything that I want. So then I'll start prioritizing them. I'll say, what things are number one? Those are things I must accomplish this year. That's number one. And I put ones by everything that I have on that paper. And then the second part is I put two. Two is like, it would be great to have that, but I could live without it. Or it'd be great to do that, but I could, be okay if I didn't, but it would be nice if I did. Kind of, that's number two. And then number three is, I could wait. If I didn't do it this year, I could push it to next year. It's not going anywhere. So that's kind of like my numbering that I do. And so then I number everything that's on that paper. And it usually starts out as a huge list. But as you start going down through this process, so you have your ones, your twos, your threes. And then what I do is I'm going to take all my ones, and you might lose some stuff you really like. But on the one, those are your non-negotiables. Those are the things you got to have, like this coming year. You just got to have it. Like there is no wait till next year. It could have been stuff that you've been procrastinating on for a while, or it's been on the list for a long time and you just didn't get to it yet.
That's a scary word, the P word, procrastination.
Exactly. We'll get to the challenges later.
Well, I hear what you're saying when it comes to all of that, but what point? I mean, how what mindset is I know is a key ingredient to like achieving your goals, right? So what role does that play? Like how do you have to invest in your mindset to make sure that you make that list and, and not procrastinate, because a lot of us are guilty of it. I know I would love to actually sit down and go, you know what, let me plan my day. Let me say, I'm going to do this, that, and the third, and this is going to be my goal. But it's like, if you don't believe it, you can't achieve it, right? If you don't put your mind to it, it's not really, you're not going to follow through with it, so to speak. So what do you say to that?
Okay, if you don't mind, let me finish, because I had two more points with the goal planning. So once you have the ones that you have, then you're going to break those down into mini steps to accomplish. And then we're going to get to mindset and all of that. But you also have to align what you're trying to accomplish with why you're trying to accomplish it. And that's a huge mistake. Your why is super duper important. And it could be a simple tweak to make you successful or not successful.
Right.
And so once you process, like, so why do I want to do this? You may not have a strong enough reason to really accomplish it. And then once you've done that, then you have to get some accountability in place. So what I like to do is I always will share my goals with people that I know are supportive, not the ones that are going to be like
ones, right?
Support, not the ones that are going to be, you know, like not supporting you in it, but people who will be honest with you, but also supportive and keep you accountable. So, and then, you know, you have to figure out who else can you get to, you know, bring in to make that happen, because nothing that we do just happens just with us.
Right.
You know, you're going to need people to, you know, that are going to step in that may have the gifts or whatever. And you do have to assess yourself and be like, do I have what it takes to accomplish this? You know, and then to get to your question of mindset, once you have a plan, you know, first of all, you know, the mindset is super duper important, you know, because people have perspectives, they have limiting beliefs, they have fear. There's a lot of that. But the thing is, we all have that. So it's just the mindset. The difference of the mindset is, can you get beyond that? You know, can you get beyond that? So, you know, if you go into something and you're like, oh, I don't know if I have enough money to do that, that mindset is not going to support the goal, right? So even as you hear yourself telling yourself that, I always go cancel clear. That's what I do because sometimes you will say it out loud. And I do believe that your words are powerful. I used to be a spoken word artist, and I'm very selective with words. And so if you're saying, oh man, I don't know if I can do this. Oh, you know, this person failed or that person failed when they tried. I don't have enough of this, or I don't have enough in that. Then when you're doing the physical action of doing your goal, the energy that is needed to vibrate through your entire body and frequency is not there to support the action. So your action just falls, you know, faith without work. Exactly. So, and our minds are really powerful. Like if we believe something to be true, that's truth for us. That's truth for us. So we're operating, every part of our beings operating as that is our truth. So, you know, I always tell people, be careful what you say. You know, they say, be careful what you say, be careful what you say, be careful what you're thinking, you know, because I always see people, they're doing all this stuff. Like they could be looking for a job, like every day, sending out 20, 30 applications. But then when I hear them talk, they're like, oh, the job market's so bad right now. People aren't getting jobs. You know, like everything in the state of mind is the opposite of what they're trying to create. So the mindset is terribly important. And, you know, a tip in adjusting is we're going to say those negative things. We're going to say it, but catch yourself, not from a place of judgment, but from a place of, uh-oh, that's not what I'm trying to create. What I just said is not what supports what I'm trying to do. So yeah, so the mindset is super duper important.
Wow. Yeah, you hit everything on the head, because you're making me think about myself and when I want to achieve a specific goal. And, you know, sometimes we tend to go, I don't even know if I should even be doing this. But then you do is no, you have to put yourself in a mindset that, no, this is where you should be. You know, you're definitely the person for the job. You're supposed to see yourself in the job before you actually get the job. So yes, you're absolutely right as far as your mindset is concerned.
There's a framework, another framework that's within my framework that I use. It's the primary goal setting framework that most people use, that they found most successful. It's the SMART and SMARTer goal setting. So you guys can look it up and Google it. But what it is being specific. I try to remember all that. Measurable, SMARA, attainable, R, you know, and T is timely. Yeah. So when you set your goals down, if you do that, if you put it through that framework, it gives you more support in accomplishing it, because sometimes our goals aren't realistic they're not timely. And like, for an example, using the SMART process, let's say you just want to, give me a goal that just a random goal.
A random goal. Okay. I apologize. I would love to make, I don't know, $1 million by the end of the year.
Okay.
For the year 2025.
Okay. So let's run it through SMART. So is that specific enough?
No, it's not specific enough.
Okay. So how would you make it specific?
I would make it specific by finding out what I guess my annual income or something like that, and what I can do to make $1 million, and put myself in pretty much that atmosphere to achieve that, I guess.
Okay. So yeah, so you kind of mentioned two of them. So one was specific and one's measurable. Like, is it possible to do that with the current state, right?
Right.
Is it achievable? So, like 500,000 might be, depending on unless you have a deal on the table, might be more attainable, and that's one of the letters, So, and then you have to figure out, why is it relevant to you, to make $1 million? Like, that kind of helps you sometimes with your why. Like, why is this relevant to you? You want to make $1 million, and why? So you ask those questions in that way. And then, the time frame is important too, so you definitely, if you're processing the goal through is this realistic within the time frame that I'm trying to do it? And you might process it and be like, we need to go back to the drawing board. I do that a lot when I put it through the SMART framework. I'm like, okay, I think my timing might be off.
Does that discourage you though, when you like go back to the drawing board and start over? I mean, do you feel?
Not for me. It may be for other people. I look at goal setting and goal planning and trying to accomplish things as almost like a good challenge, So even when and this is something I want to mention too, you could do the most perfect goal planning, right? And goal setting and goal everything, and circumstances beyond your control can step in and just mess everything up. So one of the things as far as longevity with sticking with your goals is being flexible and being able to move and adjust and pivot and do all of those things. Not from a discouraged point of view. It's just like, okay, that didn't work. Okay, so let's try something else, or maybe we need to adjust this over here. So, but the thing is, if your why you want to do it is strong enough, a lot of the things that might pop up, those obstacles, those challenges, those things like that, might not be, it's going to keep you going towards that goal. So, like sometimes I'll ask my clients, so why do you want to do this? And they'll say, oh, because I want to help people. And I'll say, okay, can you tell me, there's a process where you can ask them 7 times why. Wow. So I'll say, so why else do you want to do it? And usually by the time you get to like 5 or 6 is the real reason why they should do it, their real why. And so they might come back with, well, I want my kids to be able to look up to me. That's a more powerful thing than, the original thing that started. And it's more of a motivating thing. So if you can kind of say the first reason why is usually probably not the best reason why, but you say, so why again? And then why again? And why again? And you keep going until you're like, wow, like that's a really good reason why I should do this. It's something that you'll feel it in your body and your core and your heart. Like, okay, that's the reason why. That will keep me going. Because who wants to disappoint kids? Nobody.
That's something that tugs on my heart. Having 3 kids, and yeah, they're the first ones you disappoint when it comes to anything that you want to set, any goals that you want to set. But so what are some common mistakes people make when planning for their goals, and how can they avoid them?
Well, first is not looking at it as
a mistake.
Yeah, that's the first thing, giving yourself grace too. Because a lot of times people might not achieve a lot. And so they look at that as, oh, well, I'm not good at doing that or doing this. But it's kind of like when in goal setting, I always say, okay, if you wanted to have a mansion, right? That was your real goal. You wanted to build a mansion. And I'm making it something maybe that's big for some people to think about. But if you wanted to build it from scratch, you would have to put some planning into it, right? You'd really have to say, okay, how does it look like? Who am I going to get the builders? You got to do the blueprints. You got to do all that. Now, in the process of building this mansion, you're going to get obstacles. Like, you know, you might be putting up certain walls that day, and then it's like a thunderstorm or something. So there's going to be things that are going to happen along that journey to get you to that goal. And you have to be able to go with it. You know, if you're focused on building a mansion, if it rains that day and you're not able to put up the walls, are you going to say, forget it? I don't want to, you know, I don't need a mansion, you know, like I'll just go rent an apartment. You know, you don't do that when you're looking at creating things in that sense. So you have to look at your goals the same way. It's like, if you decide that's what I want to do, you know that things are going to come in your way to probably stop you from getting there or bring those obstacles up. And usually it's, you know, you have to keep your state of mind right to say, okay, it's going to come. Right. There's going to be something. You know? And I need to be able to go with it, but stay focused on that end goal, you know, stay focused on that end goal. And that's why, like, I think Donna Marie in the chat, my girl Donna Marie, she said, you know, the why is super. The why is everything. Why is everything?
I want to quote somebody real funny. Well, one of my favorite movies is Rocky. I love all the Rockies. But there was something he said in Rocky 5 that really stuck with me, and it kind of goes with what you're saying right now. He said, life is not about how hard you hit, but how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Yeah. And when I think about that, it's just like, yeah, I mean, a lot of people get to achieve, you know, they can set a goal and achieve it, you know, but when something happens after they achieve their goals, what do you do? You know, and I mean, that kind of leads me to my next question. It's kind of like saying, okay, so I mean, I planned my goal or whatever, and I've achieved whatever success I wanted to achieve. How do you maintain and sustain that? How do you stay in the mindset of that continuous grind, so to speak, to maintain what you have or the goal that you achieve?
Well, back to what I said before, but I want to add a little piece in there that I left out. So, like you're saying, as you're going along the way, and this is something I tell my clients as we're working together, is you got to celebrate every single win along the way. Like celebrate. Like, I'm like, okay, so you know, when you get there, what you gonna do? Not the very end, but every success along the way. So even when they'll come to sessions, at the top of the sessions, they'll usually want to tell me, oh, I did this or that. I'm like, okay, so what did you do to celebrate? So because what it creates is, and I don't want to call us dogs, but we're people that like reward. We're humans. But if a dog does something, when you're training a dog, if it does something well and you reward it with a snack, you know, it's going to keep doing better. So it's almost like you're programming yourself. So along the way, in those mini goals, as you accomplish the mini goals on the way to the big goal, and the big goal better have a really nice reward attached to it. At least mine do, you know? So as I go along the way and I'm like, oh man, I accomplished that. I'm like, okay, I celebrate constantly, because what it does, it's like, you know, work and reward, but it's not work and reward like way out in the future somewhere, you know? So that helps for me to keep me on track. And it could be something super simple, you know, like, oh, you know, I want to go see this play, or, oh, you know, I want to take my wife and kids somewhere, you know, we've been talking about going over here, so let's go do that. Or, you know what, you know, I heard about this bottle of wine I want to try, so let me, you know, I'm going to actually go get it and try it today. So, you know, I do that a lot with my clients. I'm like, so how did you celebrate that win? And they're like, oh, I didn't, you know. So it kind of helps. Like I said, we're not dogs, but we're humans, but we also like to be rewarded.
I love to be rewarded. You're right about the rewarding and celebrating, because I remember that day because of my wife throwing a big party for the fact that I achieved that goal. And I mean, it's so funny because I wanted that moment again, more than the actual promotion. I wanted that moment of the celebration after the fact that you achieved something so So amazing. But yeah,
But do it along
that's
the way. Don't wait till the ultimate goal is done. Like if there's 6 steps to getting to your goal that you have to accomplish, celebrate every 6, every one that you accomplish, because it creates like energy and endorphins and all kinds of cool stuff in your body that pushes you to, okay, so I did that and I got this. So now I want to do this and get that, you know? And you don't have to wait till whenever that big thing is completed to do that.
And how do you think that helps with like your motivation to?
It motivates me. I don't know, because I like stuff, you know, so I like to get stuff, you know, or it could be, like I said, it doesn't have to be huge. It could be, you know what, I want to have movie night at home, you know. I want to sit home by myself and have some, you know, wine and popcorn, you know. Just, you know, it doesn't have to be something where you go and spend a lot of money, but you know, you're intentionally devoting whatever that reward is attached to your accomplishment. So it becomes more intentional and it creates more of the energy within you, because you're like, okay, so that was a great celebration. Okay, let's do the next so we can celebrate some more.
Right. I know when I want to stick to my goals, it's tough. It's though, I mean, I know I want that celebration at the end of the day. It's really tough. So I mean, how do you recommend people stick to their goals, like when they're overwhelmed? And you know, what are some of the bullet points you can give us in regards to just sticking with it and following through with what your goals are?
I think part of why people feel overwhelmed is sometimes it's kind of like trying to eat like a whole bowl of soup at once. So sometimes people can feel overwhelmed, and that's why I always say break it down. You know, like if you're feeling overwhelmed, like break it down even, and if you break it down and you're still feeling overwhelmed, break it down even more. And I think time is management is huge, because sometimes you may have this amount of time and you're trying to do this amount of stuff, you know. So really being honest with yourself and saying, can I do this in the amount of time, or is this even the right time for me to go about doing this? You know, and that's where that timely part comes in with the SMART. It's like for example, last year, you know, when I wrote the first book, I wanted to create a monthly check-in for people to kind of help them get to their goals. Okay. But I also had taken on the presidency role at the chapter. And when I looked at my schedule, even though that was the greatest goal and I had a great plan for it, it wasn't the right time. It just wasn't. Like there was no way I could do all of that in 1 year. I could probably do it, but I wouldn't be very effective at it. And I had to be realistic with myself. And I said, the timing isn't right. So I pushed it, you know, and hopefully this year I'll be able to start a little bit. But even this year, I had to look at it and say, can I start this year? This year, I can't do it monthly. I just can't. Right. My schedule doesn't allow it. So it's being really realistic about what's currently on your plate, the goals that you have, and can they realistically be done? You might already have enough on your plate, you know, if you're trying to do something else on top of it. So then what happens is your brain just kind of starts melting down because there's all this stuff going on and you're trying to literally juggle it all, you know, at once. And then the time management might not be there. And especially if you have responsibilities, some people have family members they have to take care of. Some people have children, you know, they have a lot of stuff. They have busy lives. And so looking at all of that and seeing, is it realistic, or maybe this isn't the right time for something, you know?
And I was going to ask that with you saying family, because I know a lot of people who have families, and I mean, that's a key part of life.
It definitely is.
How could you, I don't know, how can you set a goal without it affecting your family? I mean, obviously you would have to sit down and plan that out and see if certain things work and in line with your core values and your time with your family. Mm-hmm. But how do you really know that, okay, maybe this goal is a 1 year goal or a 5-year goal or a 10-year goal or the ultimate goal? Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, mm-hmm. How do you figure that out with having kids? I mean, and I know a lot of people have young kids, middle kids, you know.
And the thing is, the key word is family. Mm-hmm. So what happens is when you're single, like when I was single, man, I was tearing it up.
Right.
I was tearing up like any goal I had. I was like, whoop,
I'm
whoop,
doing
whoop, like
right.
flawless. Got it done.
Mhm.
But once I got married, and once you get married, then you have you have a significant partner. It's not just your goals now because you're with someone else. So you kind of have to work in tandem with that person. If you're trying to do something, you got to check in with them and say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. What kind of support is going to be there? Sometimes there's support, sometimes there's not. But
Right.
you have to know that. And then once you add children to the mix, children's schedules are they're on their own schedule. so that throws a whole different element into it. So when you're setting those goals, you have to take all of that into consideration. It's not just about you and what you might want. And then you also have to have the flexibility to know that I might want this, but someone might need, to be changed, or someone might get sick, or something else might happen that's not going to allow that to happen in this moment. But it's okay to push it and have that flexibility and say, okay, that didn't happen today, but we can do it tomorrow instead. So yeah, whenever you add people to the mix, other people, you have to, that's a huge consideration when it comes to family, whether it's your spouse or your, significant other or your children, even pets. Because sometimes when you want to travel, let's say you want to go travel, you know what I mean? You gotta find someone to watch the pet or put them in a hotel or something, And so anytime you add any other, person into the mix, or your pet, you have to make those considerations when you're setting your goals.
Right. Okay. Well, so do you have any success stories or personal experience where goal setting and planning help you achieve something extraordinary, like out of, like, wow, I can't believe,
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of stories. I'm thinking, let me keep it more recent, because my whole life is this. I mean, like I set goals every year and do them. And, other people think they're extraordinary. I'm just like, that's just what I want to do. But the thing I think that was most powerful for me was becoming a mother.
Oh, wow.
I went career first, family second, and so I'm a little older than most people. According to doctors, I'm in the geriatric, category of thinking about giving birth. So pretty much every doctor I went to, and I have some, I had some previous medical issues. A lot of women of color have, like fibroids. I've had like 3 major surgeries where they had to cut me open for that. And so I had the odds, quote unquote, were against me. And I had many doctors tell me, you can't have children. You can't have children. You can't have children. Like I heard it so much, and I would go to, but my husband and I, we were determined to have children. We're like, in today's technology, you're telling me that regardless, I can't have a child. So I stayed really focused. Really, really focused. And I mean, doctors would show me x-rays and they're like, don't you see like what I'm seeing? Like, you're not going to have a kid. And so, and I went all the way, like doctors in Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, like the top doctors. And I finally said, okay, I'm not hearing what I want to hear over here. So I searched out and I found a doctor in New York. He was one of the top 5 specialists in infertility. And so when I went to see him, I expected to hear that same disappointment, like, I'm looking at your x-rays and this doesn't look right, but he was the first doctor that said and agreed with me that we could do it. Let's try it. Let's do it. We can make this happen. I'm like, what? And I just hugged him. And it was, probably like I think it was a 3 or 4 year journey with him through that process. But through IVF, I now have 2 children, a boy and a girl, a 4-year-old and a 22-month-old. And every time I look at them, I'm like, they're the testament of don't listen to nobody. Even if someone shows you an x-ray, and believe me, it wasn't easy. I had to go through surgeries to prepare my body for it. I went holistic. I think my sister-in-law is on here. She's a naturopath doctor. I focus on natural healing in addition to traditional medicine. to get my body ready. I literally researched and did everything I possibly could to create a perfect space for the babies to be. And now I have 2 babies. And Donna Marie is going on here like, your focus and goal setting as a mother is simply remarkable, Antoy. Yeah, she knows. She's been on the journey with me through this. And I mean, infertility is such a popular thing now with women. And I feel blessed. And I had to focus though. Like that was the thing I think I focused probably the most on. It's like my biggest accomplishment goal-wise in life is being able to create these 2 precious angels. And I literally carried them in my body. So even with that, I thought, based on what the doctors were telling me, that someone else would have to carry, but I was able to carry them. But, you know, like I said, it was tough. Like I literally had to give myself shots for, you know, my husband did actually. He enjoyed that part. Giving me shots, you know, every night for 3 months and going in every morning to have my blood drawn to see where my levels were for 3 months and, you know, laying in bed for a majority of the pregnancy. So sometimes getting to your goals isn't easy, you know, but if you're like truly focused on why you want to do it and the benefits, it will keep you focused. Because every time I felt that shot, I was like, ah! So yeah, so that would be my biggest, I think, goal accomplishment in my life so far.
Wow. Yeah, that was, you made me think back from when my wife was pregnant, and yeah, I get it, and I commend all women out there, because listen, I would never. I mean, though I admire my wife in regards to being a mother and having a child, I wouldn't want to trade places. Like I get it. You're all strong and you're all powerful. I give her a thumbs up for it. But wow, that's definitely an amazing success story, and you got 2 beautiful children out of that. Just planning and planning and planning.
Yes.
So
And I wanted to add one more thing. This is just personal for me. Like I'm a Christian, so in everything that I do, God is present, you know, like even if I'm planning on my own, I feel like I'm here on this planet on mission. And this is part of my mission, is to be able to help people get to where they need to go and make it quicker, you know, for them, give them the shortcuts. So, you know, for people that have a belief structure, you know, believe in God, or, you know, some people are of different faiths, whatever your belief is, it's important to bring that into the planning as well. Because everything I do, I try to check in and say, okay, am I in alignment with God as far as my purpose for being here on this planet? So I just wanted to add that.
Oh, okay. No, that's definitely great to add. So that would mean like you're faith based.
Yes.
You know, you're definitely faith based, and that's definitely something good to be, because I mean, listen, everything goes through Him first before it goes through us. And what I was gonna say is that I don't know, hearing everything that you've been through and all the people that you have helped, it's obvious that you have been given a great gift to help people, and in turn, God has, you know, pretty much pushed you through whatever you went through. All right, because once again, it sounds like the cards were stacked against you, but you had belief and you still persevered and pursued and fought through all the no's. And that's the thing. A lot of us, we hear no and we're like, all right, whatever, and I'm just gonna go with whatever I'm gonna do. But for you to say no, I need to hear a yes, and if there's a yes, I'm gonna push through on that yes, and that's definitely a powerful story to hear. So, what do you want the community to take away from today's session in total? Like, you know, in regards to number one, fighting through the nose, but also just the elements behind setting a goal and planning it out and pursuing it, and you know, and not getting sidetracked with the obstacles that they may go through. Like, what would you want people to take away from that?
Well, I just assume there's going to be a no. I haven't ever had a situation where, except for my, you know, really good friends, where I would tell someone, I'm trying to do this, Because the natural thing is when you tell someone, this is what I'm trying to do, they start telling you, well, this person, 1 out of every 10 African-American businesses fail in the first year. Like, people have statistics for days on why you can't do something. Believe me, like, they have so many statistics. And what I usually do is when I'm hearing that, I take it in, but only on a surface level.
Right.
And I'll take it in just because there might be jewels in there underneath that negativity somewhere. So I'll pull out the jewels and I'll throw everything else away. And then even when I get no's, I'm like, okay, you're not the person I need to be talking to. That's literally like, get out the way so I could get to the one that is the yes. That's kind of how I look at no's. And if everyone could look at it that way, that would be great. Like, don't even waste your time. Like, okay, what they say less, say less and keep it moving, So that's not your person. That's not your person you need to be talking to. But as far as overcoming the obstacles, something that I find being a coach, and this isn't pitching coaching, but everyone needs someone, if you don't have a family member or, a coworker or someone that is a supportive energy in your life, hire someone, find someone, because with me coaching, I just get to support my clients. And the good thing about it is I don't know them. They don't know me. When they come to the sessions, like, there's none of that predetermined. When people know you, they start bringing all your baggage that they know about you. Like, oh, who do you think you are trying to do that? Wasn't you like living on somebody's couch last week? You know what I mean? So to have someone who has a clear no history with you, it's kind of nice to sit down with someone like that and really put yourself out there and say, you know what, this is what I'm trying to accomplish. And let's work a way to make this happen. So if you don't have someone like that, find someone, like, honestly, that can be there for you. If you need to hire a coach, there's places that have free coaching for people. So, get a coach, get someone that is on your team. And definitely go into it knowing that you're going to have obstacles, knowing that you're going to have challenges, but having a strong enough reason why you have to do it or have to have it. Because that, even if you'll get disappointed, because you will be disappointed and sad in that situation, like, oh my God, like, that didn't work out like I planned, but okay, but I'm still, let's pick up and start over tomorrow, So just keeping that level of persistence, and I always say persistence, consistency, and determination are great words, because we're going to feel like that. We're going to feel down. Like, when I don't accomplish something, I'm like, oh man, like, and I'll feel bad for a little while, but I'm like, how is me feeling bad going to help me get to it? So, okay, you had your pity party. Now move on, move on, get back on program, and keep it going, And something that I like, I'm not an athlete or anything like that, but I really like sports. And I love like space travel, because those are two things that when you're playing sports, you're going to lose games. But does that mean you're not going to keep playing the next game and keep going again and keep, try to get to the championship? And even if you don't get to the championship this year, does that mean you're going to quit the team because you're not going, you may not go next year? So there's certain industries that support successful goal setting. And I try to look at those and say, okay, you can't quit. Like, if you're on the team, you got 4 years in college, like you got to play next year. You got to play the year after that, unless you have an injury. And then even like space travel, like, once you start on that mission, like, it's not like you're going to be in mid-flight. Like, you know what? Like, I think I'm going to go back to Earth right now.
Wow. Okay.
So there's certain things I look at and I'm like, there's certain things you just can't turn back on, and I try to keep that state of mind. Like, if I really want it, we're going all the way, and sometimes I'll tell my clients, if you're trying to go, I always say New York to LA, because that's the places I live in. Like, if you was going to drive from New York to LA, you'd have to put a plan together. Like, okay, so how much gas do I need? How much money do I need? Where am I going to stop off to take a nap? Where I'm going to sleep? Like, you'd have to plan it out. and then you'd have to do it. But then maybe after you plan it out, you'd be like, you know what? I think I'm gonna fly. I think I'll fly. Don't they have like nonstop red eyes, or something like that? So that's kind of like what goal planning's like. It's like you're looking at your destination and then you're looking at the journey along the way, and you're like, do I want to do this really, and why?
So do you believe in the quote, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there are things that do happen they just happen, but I don't know if I want those things in my life. It could be like anything, I really want to be intentional about everything that I'm creating, and just letting people know, like, there will be, challenges, there will be obstacles, there will be all these things that come in your way, but you got to either jump over it, go around it, knock it down, like you like Rocky. Knock it out, do what you got to do. Rocky failed a couple times.
He got whooped, man.
And he's back.
Mm-hmm. All right. So one of the reasons why we're on this platform right now is to pretty much make people aware of Juneteenth. Okay.
Yes.
So my question to you is, what does Juneteenth mean to you, pretty much?
I'll tell a quick story. I come from Jamaica, so I had never heard of Juneteenth until I moved to Texas. I moved to Texas, and even when I lived in Texas, I hadn't heard about it till I went to Texas Southern University. Yeah, I went to Texas Southern University, which is a HBC, and they were like, "Oh, you coming to Juneteenth?" I'm like, "What's that?" So I learned about Juneteenth in Texas, and it was really saddening to me when I first heard about what it actually, had came from. But how I try to process it, like I told you in the beginning, like I try to take everything positive. It's like the truth will set you free. Knowledge is power. And the fight for justice continues. And that's kind of what it means to me, because they didn't have the truth, and so, but you don't know what you don't know either if you didn't know that it exists. So it's important to get information, get as much knowledge as you can, know the truth, search for truth. And nowadays it's easy to find truth, like you can, well, I don't know if it's that easy, but it's easier.
Absolutely.
Easier. And definitely, it's not over. As people can look at what's going on in the world today, we still need to continue to fight for justice, equality, inclusiveness, diversity, all of those things. That's a constant journey. It feels like it hasn't changed. I mean, when I was in college, we were protesting and doing things, and now it's like still happening. So, but we have to continue to strive for those things.
Okay. Well, Antoy, it's been amazing talking to you. I was really trying to write down certain things while you were talking to make plans for myself. Yes, people out there, I was making selfish decisions while I was interviewing because I wanted to retain as much as I could retain.
And you don't have to retain it. I forgot to tell you guys this. I think there was a link in the chat. I'm giving everyone a free digital copy of my book. So you don't have to worry about it. It's all there for you. You can go to the link and share it. You can share it with others as well. I want everyone to have this information so you can do it. So if you have a notebook or note-taking app, it works on there, or you can just download it, print it, whatever you want to, however you want to use it.
That's definitely amazing. I will definitely be using this. This has been a blessing for me to do this interview. Antoy, it's been amazing talking to you. Tell us, also continue to tell people where they can find you. I know some of it is posted, but would you like to tell people where they can find you?
You can always Google me, or you can go to antoygrant.com, theantoyshow.com, or mangoseed.tv.
Gotcha. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that concludes our Lunch and Learn session. We thank you, Mrs. Antoy Grant, for being here today. It's definitely been an amazing experience talking to you. And I hope everyone has gotten something from what she has talked about today. Chase your dream, plan out your dreams, all right, and make sure you focus and don't let anything hold you back from it, okay? Let me go into some housekeeping, all right? Ms. Antoy, it's been great talking to you, okay?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we are going to give you a rundown of certain things that we have under this Juneteenth platform. First of all, we have AR Business Expansion. Join AR Business Expansion today to secure your spot in a high-demand, cutting-edge platform that transforming businesses and growth. With limited client intake, this inclusive opportunity won't last long. Act now, elevate your business with innovative solutions before the window closes. Okay, so we have a QR code that we're going to be posting, so you can scan to try to join this expansion experience. Is led by Athenia Rodney. Okay, also December 21st. Come and support a great cause, spread holiday cheer, and celebrate diversity in the most stylish way by celebration of the Black Kings. So for more information or to participate, contact us today. Let us make this holiday more impactful for you, okay? Also, Juneteenth NYC 2025. It is called A Legacy of Resilience. That's the focus that we're giving you for this year. This year's theme is pretty much celebrating the power of community. It also highlights the rich tapestry of our shared history and our ongoing commitment to empowerment. As we prepare for this monumental 16th annual celebration, let's reflect on the significance of the flags proudly displayed in our artwork: the American flag, the Pan-African flag, and the official Juneteenth flag. The American flag. The American flag reminds us of the ideals of liberty and justice that Juneteenth calls on us to fully realize. While it represents the nation as a whole, Juneteenth serves as a call to acknowledge the continued fight for freedom and equity for all Americans, particularly those of African descent. The Pan-African flag. The Pan-African flag, created by Marcus Garvey and the Universal Negro Improvement Association in 1920, represents the unity of all people African heritage worldwide. Its colors symbolize red, the bloodshed by those who fought for freedom; black, the strength and beauty of the African people; and green, the abundant natural wealth of Africa. This flag, as a bold testament to the global African diaspora's strength, solidarity, and contributions. The official Juneteenth flag, created in 1997, the Juneteenth flag uniquely represents the end of slavery in the United States. The star is a guiding symbol of freedom, and for African Americans. The arc represents a new horizon and opportunities. Red, white, and blue acknowledges the shared history and connection to the United States while emphasizing the ideas that the nation still strives to achieve. Okay, so once again, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for listening. We thank you for stopping by. And we thank once again Ms. Antoy Grant for blessing us with the information that she has given us today. I am the Business DJ Basic. I hope you enjoyed the show. See you soon. Take care. Woo! All right.